All right, welcome to the demo for the Pinch Bird project. I'm going to show you how to make these really cute little birds from a pinch pot. You guys have already made a pinch pot, so you understand the basic method and the way that we make those pinch pots. But this time we're going to take a pinch pot and turn it into a cute little bird. So these birds, the only difference between these birds is the wing design. One of them was scratched, the other one I used texture. You can see that one of these tails goes down, the other one goes up. And the only other difference is I put a line on the beak of this bird, whereas this bird does not have a line. So really it's up to you how you decide to shape and decorate the surface of your bird. All right, so let's get started here. You guys are going to need 1.25 pounds of clay. Excuse me, 1.25 pounds of clay. You're going to need something to use for texture. There's lots of different things that we have in the studio that you can use. You will need a rubber rib. I would recommend either the yellow or the blue because they're stiffer. A serrated rib for scoring. A paintbrush for slip. A sponge always. Small rolling pin that looks like this. A rubber tip tool of some kind is optional. A wooden knife for sure, the kind that has this little scoop on the end. And the pen you can borrow from me. I've got lots of pens. Don't take the point out. You need it without the point, just like that, a ballpoint pen. And water. All right, I'm going to move all these tools off to the side here. And we will begin. So here's my 1.5 pounds of clay. Been wedged out. So I'm ready to go. I'm just going to take some of this dry clay off my board, and the first thing we're going to do is just start making a meatball. The meatball doesn't have to be perfect. Please remember it's just a starting point because we are going to make a pinch pot. So you want to make it round for sure, but it doesn't have to be perfect at this point. Okay, once you have a meatball shape in your hand, you can take your thumb, lift it all the way up, and push that thumb in and begin pinching. Pinch and turn, pinch and turn, pinch and turn, pinch and turn. I usually get my corners out first. You can see that my thumb is in there pinching out the corner. These fingers are straight, and I'm pinching and turning. As soon as I get this pinch pot a little bit open, I can go ahead and take my thumb and really push those corners out, as well as the bottom, which is my base here. Basically, I want my pinch pot to be as even as possible. And so a lot of times I'm just feeling for the thicknesses so that I know where to continue pinching. Every now and then you want to take it, hold it, and just tap, turn, tap, turn, tap, turn. This keeps your rim even, but it also makes it thicker, so you want to go back in and thin it out. You want the thickness throughout the entire pinch pot to be about the thickness of a pencil. If you get some thin spots, you can get extra clay and patch it. Just make sure you smooth that clay out really, really well. So I'm opening this pinch pot a lot more than I opened my last pinch pot for my pear. This is not going to be connected with another pinch pot, so I'm going to make this, I'm going to open it wide. See how much wider it is? So right now, I'll measure it for you guys. Let's see. Right now we are about, 4.5 across, and I'm not even done yet. So I'm making sure to get my corners, the base, not too skinny though, not too skinny, be careful. And as far as a pencil goes, it's a little bit thicker than a pencil, just by a little bit. See that? Just by a tiny bit. All right, I'm just pushing my base down, making sure that it's thinned out. There we go. At this point, you want to begin closing it up. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to sit it down, I'm going to push the base down so that my base is not super thick. I can measure the base. If you want to measure the base, you can go ahead and do that with a needle tool, and you just stab it in, drop one finger, so I'm going to show you what I'm doing, drop one finger down, and then measure the thickness. Right where your finger touches the clay, that's your thickness. So that's pretty good. I'm going to close that up. Okay. At this point, we start to close it. So very carefully, slowly. If your clay is on the drier side, you're going to really have to go slow for closing this up until it connects, until it reaches. I'm going to bring you guys down a little closer here. So now we have kind of what I call the shape of an empanada. You don't want to pinch this closed, you want to smooth it across, because if you pinch it, you're going to get this really big ridge here. We don't want that. I'm also going to bring this camera a little closer. Pardon me, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to start by going across, just smoothing across. Across, there's a little piece of hard clay right here, so I'm going to take that out. I'm just smoothing. If your clay is soft, you can do this easily with your finger. If your clay is not soft, you're going to need a rib or a wooden knife. So you can use your wooden knife to go across. And at this point, if you've already been across, now you can go horizontally. Or vertically, I guess it depends on how you're looking at it. You want that ridge line to 100% disappear, which is why you don't want to pinch it close. You want to smooth it across. You want to pull that clay across. And it's always a good idea when you connect things to go in several directions. So now I'm going to hit it with my rib, and I'm just going to go and keep smoothing. There we go, all the way to the end. Once your form is closed, it's holding the air inside until we poke a hole in it. So you want to be really careful because it's still really soft, but you can shape it and we'll be okay with that. At this point, you need to decide what's going to be the head and what's going to be the tail. Completely up to you. I think for this piece, I think I'm going to decide that this is going to be the head. So I'm going to start by wetting my hand and begin shaping this head. So again, if your clay is really soft, you do not want to add a lot of water. I'm just pulling this bird head out a little bit and shaping it. Sometimes I go into circular mode like this around the bird neck to form that actual bird neck. You can tilt it up a little bit. Do you see how that's starting to look like a head? Very gentle moves. I need a beak, so I'm going to pull out a little beak, pulling it out and shaping it, defining it so that it is separate from the head. Don't make the beak too skinny. So that's what we have right now. The tail is also going to get pulled out. The tail you can either pull it down or pull it up. I'm going to go up this time. Don't make it too skinny either. You could have a curve here or you can have flats, up to you. You kind of want to set it down and decide, what you want to do next to it. I usually like to set it down and create this shape right here on the neck so that the neck So the head of this bird is definitely different from the rest of the body. It's nice to be able to look at it from the top so that you can check to make sure that your bird body is even and is standing nice and balanced on your table. Okay, so that went pretty quick. That's a good shape for my bird. I'm happy with that. Now it's just a matter of smoothing. If you have a sponge, you can smooth with your sponge and make sure that your bird is 100% smoothed out. This is important before we begin attaching the wings and putting texture into it. Don't forget the bottom. Make sure that the bottom is nice and smoothed and shaped nicely. It should have a flat bottom so that it's stable on your table. Okay, I'm just going to keep smoothing and I will come back.